Hi friends, my name is Molly. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. And in today's video, I wanted to talk about body image. I just wanted to share my experience with body image and how it changed for me, what helped me not to define myself as my body, and just this complex journey of not deriving self-worth from your physical appearance. So let's get right into it. First, I wanted to just share how I've been kind of viewing my body most of my life, what was normal for me. And I think one of the first things that was normal for me is that I started developing insecurities based on, what my peers told me about my body. And I think that just kind of imprinted me, those are good things about you, those are not good things about you. My style started being defined by what my clothing makes me look like to others. My workouts started being a means of achieving good looks in certain body parts, a means of being body goals one day, because right now wasn't good enough. I was definitely not good enough looking. And I would take compliments very personally. I would let them affect me. I would let insults or comments about my body affect me as much as the compliments and tell me if I'm good enough. Outside opinion about my body was very meaningful thing for me. It's been norm, and now that I'm reflecting onto that, I'm just like, wow, that's crazy. Even my workouts, something that's so sacred to me right now as a way of feeling good, they were purely for impressing someone or feeling good in the mirror because I look like someone who's perceived in our society as good looking, and I've been hiding a lot of myself. Comparing myself to others was definitely a big thing for me, and that would affect my mood a lot as well, because I derived self-worth from comparing myself to other people. I don't think there's anything unusual, as a girl. I think everyone has kind of a different experience depending on your background, your gender, your experience. That's how it was for me. And here's how things started changing and how my mindset started shifting and where the prison bars of my mind started disappearing. One of the first things that started changing my body image in my head when I started working out. Just like out of habit, working out was normal for me. I wasn't very consistent with it, but it was just like I grew up pretty active, so sports was part of my life, which I'm very grateful for. So I was just trying to find a way of working out without a gym, at home in the quarantine, and I found yoga for myself, and there was no one around to judge me, to look at me, or for me to feel judged or feel looked at. And I was just working out because it felt fun, because it felt good. Body didn't really matter at that time, just because I wasn't going out. I definitely just started doing what feels good, and I just purely wanted to move. Finding yoga felt new to me. It was a whole discovery for me. I was putting just a tiny bit of effort into, and it was very rewarding for me. And if you guys been on my channel, you know that I've challenged myself to do yoga every day. And doing yoga every day, I brought my attention to my body every day. That started shifting my perspective about my body, just because every day I was just accenting on what my body feels like, and that definitely started turning certain things in my head. My attention started shifting from the mirror, from the weight scales, into myself and into how I feel every day moving my body. And the more I started diving deeper into yoga, the more I started diving deeper into philosophy of yoga, or just the mindset behind yoga, the more I started to feel the burden of being obsessed with my body, being obsessed with my looks. I think that was just like a slow shift of myself, just realizing how burdening it is to just constantly care and constantly compare and derive sense of self-worth from being satisfied with your image right now or not. And I started realizing how burdening it is to, for example, receive compliments about my change in my appearance, or receive compliments and let them affect me. Even that, like something that compliments were just positive for me, always been positive thing, you look good, people compliment you, and I'm like, okay, I let them affect me so much. I let them tell me if I am being approved of or not. As well as criticism also hits you hard as much as the compliments. Yeah, I started being aware of my attachment to my body. And I think even though I was accenting a lot on my feeling and how good it feels, and I think that was taking most of my energy, there was still this buzz behind my head where I want to be perceived a certain way, or I want to look better, and right now is not good enough. And I think it's still there as well, because that's just the nature of, you know, the ego. It always wants more. And when I let that feeling of being not hot enough right now take over me, it took away the fun from my practice. It just made it less fun. It just made it less about feeling good. And that feeling of being not hot enough gave my ego a sense of direction of thirst, to strive to want more and more and more. There's always a desire to feed that ego, because it feels like a goal, it feels like accomplishment, it feels like there's something better for you. I think by pursuing yoga, I could definitely walk on the wrong path of letting my ego take over and using yoga as a tool to get myself sense of identities, identifying with my body, what my body can do. So yeah, that definitely could be a trap. Even my diet would be guided by means of looking good. Somewhere there is a parallel timeline where I might have done that, and I'm just back in a devil's circle where workouts become a means of looking good for me. But I think that's not what happened. I am lucky to have access to a lot of information. There's internet, there's books. So I just kept being curious, what's the mindset behind doing that practice? And even though there was always this mindset of, you know, looking good, and yoga was a means of achieving that, obviously, but I accented actively on looking for information, bathing in that information of what yoga means to me, what is the feeling that I can explore, that, you know, yoga opens for you. So I'm lucky enough to be able to keep my focus on a practice as a meaningful, wholesome experience. So even though there was always this buzz of my ego telling me I should be looking better, and it's always there, but with the help of reading books and digging deeper into material about yoga, watching YouTube videos, I kept exploring the intention behind my practice, and I kept practicing every day, which I think was very important for me in the beginning, especially because it always came back to the feeling that I got from moving my body, from doing this practice. And as I practiced more and more, my awareness of my attachment to my body became more and more obvious, and I just started being so aware of how my mood depends on whether I have a good body day or a bad body day. That I started actually looking at the fact that I constantly care, and I think that was one of the main shifts that I believe are changing direction of my mindset and my dependency on my body. And that is the awareness of my attachment to my body, the awareness of how much I actually depend on my looks. I love that with daily practice of connecting with how my body feels, my sensitivity increased. Some people would perceive as a bad thing, but I'm truly grateful for that, because I think I get to connect myself deeper, and I started really feeling how I feel, and really feeling how my practice feels, and really feeling how my food feels. Not in a way that it's going to make me look thinner if I eat less, but in a way where this leaves me feel good, this doesn't leave me feel good, what nourishes me. By that time I lost desire to do any diets or lose weight, because that was not about that anymore. It was about feeling good, and that sensitivity spread it into me wanting to dig deeper into myself and learn more about myself as energy, as a divine being. I said it. It's very cringy to me to say such things, but I can't deny it any longer. I am one and you are too. That would start just overshadow that ego voice. I really enjoyed reading Eckhart Tolle books. I still am reading them. And I really enjoy his concept of inner body. Basically, it's a concept of inner body as a feeling inside of your body, how your body feels from the inside, and bringing awareness to that inner body. What I learned from him is that when I notice a lot when, for example, I like talk to someone, or just like I'm surrounded by people, one of the first things that my ego wants to do, it wants to judge people, it wants to derive the sense of self-worth for myself from what people look like, what they act like, and just compare myself to them. And that's just so annoying and burdening. What I really liked about Eckhart Tolle teachings is that I just started breathing into my body and just feeling parts of my body. You know, I still pay attention to everything that's going on. I'm aware, but I'm like really aware because I am here and I'm experiencing my body in this situation without letting my thoughts distort everything around me. And I think that really helps me with anxiety in social situations, or when I feel like I'm not listening to someone properly and I'm just thinking of how I'm being perceived right now. I start breathing into my body, and that helps me to listen to the other people. So just that awareness of being aware of my body just shifts everything. With my daily yoga practice, where I started experiencing that inner body, where I started experiencing that feeling rather than my distorted perception of who I am, that real feeling of existing right now, being really here, not living in a nightmare, I feel like, of your ego telling you what the reality is. Just sharing my perspective and what Eckhart Tolle helped me with, like kind of worded into inner body. I feel like that's a very powerful concept he really put together well. It's one thing to know about those concepts, but I think it's another thing to kind of like live by them and to actually apply them. So what really helps me is to constantly listen to those things, to constantly just repeat those things, you know, journal about them, or just listen to people talk about them, like on YouTube videos, different spiritual teachers, and just constantly brainwashing myself with being present and how important it is to meditate. I feel like that really helps me to not fall back into that mindset where my body is everything to me, or my identity is everything to me. Like I said, I'm still attached to my body. There's always that hole I can fall into, but something changed. I started being aware of that. I started being aware of that attachment. That awareness brought a realization that I need to work on that. Just practicing every day is important. Getting glimpses of just being so free that, you know, you're just like here, and that's all there is. It's just so beautiful. I feel like that's rare for me to get that pure feeling of really existing and being shiny being, but it's so precious when I do, and with practice, with awareness, I definitely get glimpses of that. And I feel like we all are stuck in different depth of holes that we dug with our attachment to self-image, and you might be in a deeper hole than someone else. You might be in a deeper hole that I am. You might say that it's easy for me to say because, you know, I'm a skinny white girl, and that might be a reason for you to keep petting yourself for, you know, being so stuck in that trap of being what your body is. We definitely have different levels of work to do. It's okay. But I think awareness of that is where the change starts. Awareness of you depending on what your body is, what your body can do or what your body can't do, who you are as an identity. And I feel like it's important to also remember it's not about being better one day, even in your mindset, or being somewhere one day, because right now you're not good enough in your mindset even. I feel like that's also an ego perspective. I think it's about just experiencing yourself every day, experiencing yourself as a body and how you feel in this body, and connecting with that feeling and appreciating your body right now. So yeah, that's, I think, my message in this video. Awareness and daily authentic effort makes you shine, I believe. I hope this video makes sense and, you know, it leaves you inspired. I want you to thrive, and I feel like we can do that together by supporting each other, by inspiring each other. I love you guys, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye bye.